What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the TV Toycast YouTube channel. And today I'm unboxing from the Star Wars Black Series line. It is the one and only Emperor Palpatine. Very excited about diving into this one. I actually picked this one up for cheap. Unfortunately, it kind of is a little of an unsteady package. I had a little piece of plastic right there to even get it to set up right. But I picked this one up at Ollie's. What is it? Like $9.99 right there? Yeah, I can't beat that. But if I put it up right here, it just leans forward, and it looks, sometimes it doesn't even stand. So I guess it doesn't look horrible in the shop, but I'm like, I like it to be a little bit more upright, so I had a little piece of plastic right there, and I'm like, well, that'll work. But of course, this is from the archive line, I guess, of the Black Series, but they all kind of go together, which is kind of cool. Got a signature cloak and a little walking stick, so not a bad looking figure. Of course, more traditional carding on this one as opposed to the box packaging, which we're more used to with stuff from Hasbro's, of course, 4 and up. Emperor Palpatine, Star Wars, the Black Series, Archive, of course, Hasbro right over there. Not a lot of Star Wars knowledge from me. I am becoming a bigger Star Wars fan. I'm starting to dive into more of the movies and the TV shows. I've taken a break from it a little bit. I need to dive back in. It's so much right now. Have you guys noticed that with content? And I appreciate you guys watching this in spite of all the content that's out there, all the TV shows, movies, etc. It's hard to watch everything. It's hard to have enough time, and you kind of have to make time for that sometimes, so I do appreciate it for sure. But I do feel like with the advent of more information and more stuff coming on YouTube, traditional television will struggle a bit. I could be wrong on that. But, back in the advent of YouTube, 2006, 2007, whenever it was a lot of, movie trailers and stuff like that. It was random videos. It wasn't like video series, kind of like I'm doing or other creators are doing. So it's a little bit different, and I think now more people are digging YouTube. So it's definitely changed a lot over the last probably 10 years or so. But yeah, Star Wars, something I do need to catch up on as I get into a weird rant about YouTube. Who would have thought that? But I do like these figures. I have quite a few of them still to unbox here on the channel. And I think the last one I did was the Holiday Purge Trooper, which I love the holiday ones. They're doing a whole bunch of new Halloween-themed figures. Those are hitting Walmart and kind of that new collector display, which is really cool. So I do plan to pick a bunch of those up because they're a lot of fun. But I go hot and cold with Star Wars, almost like any other line, where I'm real big into it. I want to buy a bunch of them, and then other times I'm like, I don't care. Right now, if you haven't noticed, I'm real big into Masterverse. That's kind of where a lot of my interest is falling. But I try not to focus my channel on all that because I do have, obviously, wrestling interests, Star Wars, Transformers, a bunch of other stuff I like. So I try to not focus all on one thing because then you don't end up having a lot of variety, which I do like having a lot of variety. Of course, this came out in 2019 here. It says Darth Sidious slowly manipulated the political system of the Galactic Republic until he became Supreme Chancellor and eventually Emperor, ruling the galaxy through fear and tyranny. Looks like this was originally released in 2019. Of course, if I'm looking at it correctly, a couple of more accessories in the original release, so this is more of a bare bones version. But again, I'm okay with that. I don't think a ton of accessories are always necessary, as I've talked about before. I do like that he has his walking stick and his cloak. I think that's fine, but it looks like he's got a couple of extra heads, possibly faces. I don't know, were they doing faces back then? I don't remember that. And then, of course, some lightning effects there, which are always kind of fun. But again, I think it's cool that this came out in 2019, but I was able to pick it up in 2025, I didn't even start collecting Star Wars figures until 2024, actually, and kind of got the idea that I wanted to get a few, and hit up a Walmart and a Target. Ended up picking up 4 figures, and my first 4 originals. The first one I ever got was Darth Vader, and I'm like, that's a perfect way to start. Such a good figure. I bought that at a Target, thought it was awesome, and was just blown away by how good it was. Of course, it was Black Series. And then I went to a Walmart just down the street, and I picked up Grief Karga, which was, of course, Carl Weathers' character from The Mandalorian. And I also picked up The Mandalorian. Then I went to my local Walmart where I lived, because I was out eating dinner with family, and found a clearance on Chrysanthemum, which is kind of like a black-furred Chewbacca, like a Wookiee character. I felt like that was a pretty good start. I was like, okay, I'm digging these. I like these. Open them up, and obviously Hasbro always has had great quality figures, so there was no problem there. I just enjoyed them, and I thought they were great. So it kind of spawned a new collection. Of course, Hasbro and Disney right there, very important. Disney owns Star Wars, Marvel, everything in the world. Different world nowadays. Disney owns it all. Like I said, traditional packaging here. I don't mind that at all, though. And I did find this at Ollie's. I don't know if you guys have an Ollie's near you, but worth checking out. I have found quite a bit of stuff at Ollie's. And like I said, this is, a $25 figure? Most likely. I picked it up for no twist ties, which is very nice. Picked it up for $10. Probably others there as well. So I can't beat that at all. Nice articulation. Got the nice hood. He is not a looker, ladies and gentlemen. He is not a looker. Very ugly fella, but that's all right. I do like the cloak. He's got, of course, soft goods. Looks like the cloak is totally removable if we wanted to take it off, so that's kind of cool. In fact, if you so desired, you could probably use this as like an Undertaker Ministry of Darkness robe. Scaling might be a little off because Taker's obviously, the Mattel's Elites are a lot bigger than this, but it kind of has that same vibe as that Undertaker Ministry of Darkness robe. You remember that? That was such a weird time in wrestling because like Undertaker almost became like this evil guy. I mean, like, you know, he's kind of like was like the Lord of Darkness, but now it was like really dark, and we're like, ooh. I remember I've told this story before, but I remember watching wrestling, and you know, he's like sacrificing Midian on the stage, and even then I remember thinking like, this isn't right. You know, like this is too wild for pro wrestling, and he's making Midian drink his blood and all kinds of stuff. And my dad happens to walk in right in that moment. He's like, what are you watching? And I'm like, wrestling. He's like, huh, okay. My dad was never one to like, you can't watch this, this is, you know, of the devil or anything like that, but you know, so he was always kind of careful on that type of stuff, but he definitely had that look like, wrestling's a little different, you know. He had that thought, and it definitely was. It was a different time. This guy's not having the best time standing. Sometimes you have to adjust these ankles a little bit. But no, very cool figure. I do have a tablecloth type thing over my table here, so that could be part of the reason. Sometimes it's not the sturdiest thing. And a lot of these guys have small feet, and I have noticed with action figures, if they have small feet, sometimes they don't stand as well. But again, it is what it is. The scaling on the Hasbro figures are always really good. Of course, if you collect other Hasbro, whether it be Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classified, possibly even Transformers, I don't know for sure on those. The scale's probably pretty close to all of these, so you could kind of mix and match. Not sure if that would be something people do, but I guess you could. But again, the Star Wars Black Series, it is a very, very deep roster of characters. So many characters, in fact. I don't know anyone that could be a completionist on it. I would have to say that you would have to just be a Star Wars collector only, and that would be hard to do. Of course, oh, he just tipped over. Luckily, my wall caught him right there. Let's see, try to get him to stand up. I have a feeling putting him on my turntable to take the 360 video might be a challenge. We shall see. Let's scoot him back a little bit, keep him in the frame. There we go. But I would have to say, you know, back in the day it was a little bit easier to collect stuff because there was a lot of options, but, you know, it was like, this is the run. This is this many figures, that's it. Not hundreds or possibly thousands of figures. I want to say I looked up McFarlane since 2020 has produced like over 600 DC Multiverse figures. Now, in a lot of ways, that doesn't even seem right, but I think I mean, you think about it with all the platinum chases and everything, it's probably pretty close to that. Who could buy all of those, right? And it's so many, and to the point where it's like, I don't know how anyone could collect that. And I think there's something special about the old lines where if you were like, I want to collect WWF Hasbro, I think the grand total was 99 figures. I could be wrong on that, but that's the number I've heard. I've never counted myself. But that's doable. Even if they are expensive, that's a doable number. Like, you're like, okay, I could buy all those. So, yeah, I don't know. When it's like thousands, it's like, ooh, how could anyone go down that road? But it's nice to get one that's a little bit cheaper, obviously, with a store like Ollie's. And most of the time, your vintage stores have pretty good Star Wars selections as well. So if you're into Star Wars, it's worth checking out. But Emperor Palpatine, definitely a cool figure. Definitely one I'm glad to add to the collection as I grow the Star Wars line even further. Like I said, the more of these I get, the more I like them. And it's weird. I haven't really been into Star Wars lately, but just opening this up, I'm like, oof, I need more of these. You know, it gets the juices flowing, and it happens every time I dive into something I haven't unboxed in a while. I'm like, ooh, I want to check those out. I want to unbox this. I want to unbox that. It definitely happens. But that's what makes this channel so much fun. And hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. And hopefully you check out some of my other unboxing videos. Last week I unboxed a lot of cool stuff. On Monday, I went to the world of DC Super Friends from McFarlane Toys and unboxed Lex Luthor. Really, really cool. Loving the new Super Friends line. Can't wait to unbox the rest of those. In fact, I've already started seeing Series 2 pop up. Have picked up a couple, so we got a few more of those to get, but can't wait for that. And hopefully the Series 3 pictures will be popping up very soon. That was on Monday. On Wednesday, I unboxed Marge and Maggie Simpson from the Simpsons Jax line from Wave 3, which was really fun. And I got Wave 5 in the mail, so I'm like, ooh, I need to catch up on those. I'm falling behind. So those were obviously a lot of fun as well. And on Friday, I unboxed the Shadow Orc Grunt from Mythic Legions. I haven't done a Mythic Legions in a long time. I did one video right when I first started, and I haven't dove back into it. So it was cool to dive into another Mythic Legions. Really fun. He tipped over again, didn't he? This guy does not like to stand. What are you going to do? This was one that definitely could use a stand. And then on... that was on Friday, and then this week, of course, Ricky Morton from the Big Rubber Guys and the Major Pod. I unboxed him on Monday, and then on Wednesday this week, I unboxed Merman from the Masterverse line of Masters of the Universe. I'm loving the Masterverse line, and Merman has always been a favorite of mine. The second I saw that at a store, I'm like, oh, this is not the one I actually wanted, but I'm okay with it because it's amazing. Had to pick it up. Merman's awesome, so I was very happy to pick that one up. That actually happened on Wednesday, of course, and then today, of course, Emperor Palpatine, a lot of fun as well. So check all my other unboxing videos. Check out What's on the Pegs, dropping every Saturday. It's a nice, fun toy hunt video if you're into those, where I'm kind of highlighting what I'm finding out there on my toy hunts. Always a lot of fun. Check that out every Saturday. And then once a month, I'm dropping Tales of the Toy Box. This most recent episode, episode 5, was all about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Series 1. So check that out as well. Also, check out our TikTok. Doing a lot of cool things over on TikTok with the TB Toycast page. Check that out. And then, of course, the flagship, the one and only TB Toycast podcast. Over 200 episodes and counting. Check that out wherever you get your podcast. Me and Travis do a deep dive into a main event or a vintage toy line of sorts, as well as talking all the news and happenings in the toy world. So check that out wherever you get your podcast. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you guys for checking out the TB Toycast YouTube channel. That's Emperor Palpatine from the Star Wars Black Series line. And we will see you in the toy aisle.
Yeah. One more time. It ain't over till I say it's over. So lock the cage up, cause this is a takeover. The wait's over. If this the final time we meet, then you'll be on your back on my feet. Then I'll tip the cage over as a hangover. I'm super fly so I can splash off the top. And I can shut down the shot.